Howdy, hello, H2Os, roller bros, and feet fetchers alike. I'm your guide, Q, and welcome to some Nice Girl Stories. I actually just found out about this subreddit, r/Nice Girl Stories, and I'm going to link 3 subreddits in the description down below: Nice Girl Stories, Nice Guy Stories, and Tales of Neckbeards. These are 3 subreddits that don't quite have the popularity or amount of stories that I think they should, so if you want to check them out and share your stuff, I think it'd be good to breathe some life into these subreddits. So let's get into the stories. This happened back in 9th grade when my friend Scott had a huge crush on this girl Angelica, but she didn't like him back. I was wondering why though, because Scott was actually a pretty good looking guy. No homo. This person is either ironically or unironically using no homo in 2019. And from what I saw, Angelica wasn't in a relationship or anything at the time. But even more so why Scott was so into Angelica in the first place. From what I heard, he and Angelica went to the same elementary school, and he liked her back then, and Angela rejected him back then too, and he still wasn't over her. One morning in homeroom, Scott decided to shoot his shot at Angelica once again, to which she responded by screaming so loud that everyone in the room could hear, "No, I didn't like you then, and I don't like you now. Leave me alone." Everyone teased Scott for it for the rest of the day. To make things worse, people started telling other people what happened, and before long, everyone in 9th grade knew about how Angelica publicly rejected Scott in the most humiliating way possible. To rub salt in the wound, Angelica and her friends would make fun of Scott every chance they got for quite some time. Needless to say, Scott was done chasing Angelica for good, but the story isn't over yet. Fast forward a few months, and Scott is now dating Michelle, who's in the other 9th grade class. Now, Michelle was cuter, smarter, and a much better person than Angelica, and the two of them were really happy together. I tell Scott I'm happy for him and that I'm glad to see him with a girl that's actually worth his time. He said he was glad too, and that he's been super happy ever since he stopped stressing over you-know-who. As time goes by, Michelle and Scott do all the things of a typical high school relationship. Holding hands through the hallways, eating lunch together, walking home together after school, etc. It didn't take long before everyone found out about them. Then one day, as I was eating lunch with a group of my friends in the cafeteria, suddenly Angelica walks in and starts scanning the room until she spots Michelle eating at a table with her friends. Angelica marches right up to Michelle and starts staring her down with murderous intent, all the while Michelle just sits there not making a sound. I quickly start tapping my friend's shoulders, alerting them to what's going on, and the interaction goes something like this. So, like, what's the deal with you and Scott? Scott is my boyfriend? Oh, your boyfriend? Really now? Huh? Listen, I don't know how much he's paying you or whatever, but you can just drop the act, because honestly, you aren't fooling anyone. What are you talking about? Don't play dumb with me. It's obvious that Scott made you pretend to be his girlfriend in an attempt to make me jealous. At this point, we're all just staring in disbelief. My friends and I are giving each other looks like, is she serious? Michelle's friends are sitting there wanting to say something, but are just completely dumbfounded by the whole ordeal. Angelica starts going at Michelle, and after a while, Michelle decides she's had enough, and she leaves along with her friends. The next morning, I come into homeroom to see everyone crowding around Scott's desk as he's explaining in detail what happened yesterday. It turns out that Michelle had told Scott what took place, and Scott then DM'd Angelica, telling her to keep her distance. And then Angelica does the unthinkable. In response, she wrote a paragraph-long text to Scott about how sorry she was for rejecting him, and that how seeing him with another girl made her super jealous and realize her true feelings, and that Scott's supposed to be with her, and that she wants him to break up with Michelle so that he can give us a chance. Scott is having none of it. He forwards the text to everyone in his contact list and made sure Angelica became the laughingstock of 9th grade, just like she did to him. Unfortunately, Michelle and Scott would break up a little less than a year later, but no one forgot about what Angelica did. Let me know if this has ever happened to you before. I can say that in the past, I've thought that someone was interested in me, and when I found out they weren't, I was like slightly disappointed even if I wasn't interested in them. It was a little bit of a boost to my ego, so I could kind of see how somebody with a more fragile ego and like delusions and serious hormonal problems could take this sort of situation and blow it out of proportion. Alright, this one comes from the submissions email, CueSubs@gmail.com. That's CueSubs@gmail.com. If you're gonna send in something there, just make sure it actually applies to the subject that it's about. Like, if it's a neckbeard, make sure they're actually a neckbeard. If it's a nice girl, make sure they're a person that claims to be nice and then isn't so nice. You know, that sort of stuff. Let me know if you'd like to remain anonymous or not. This one is from an anonymous subscriber. To start off this post, I'd like to give a little background. I live in the US, and my local high school has a program where 7th and 8th graders can take a test, and if they pass, they can take high school classes there as well. We don't earn any credits towards graduating, but it's a good head start and sets you on the right path to take higher level classes in high school. I was in this program, and so was the nice girl. Now that we have that out of the way, we can begin the story. I was a geeky 7th grade girl. I was still in my emo phase and was obsessed with YouTube, typical middle school girl things. I don't want to define my orientation or anything, but I am attracted to girls, but with a greater preference towards guys. I had the nice girl who we'll call Cass in a few of my classes. She seemed friendly enough, and she was extremely obsessed with anime, so the type of person I would get along with. Another thing about her, though, is that she would tell anyone that she was a lesbian. It was one of the only things she would talk about, which was kind of annoying, but I decided to look past it. We were in the same friend group, and we talked about all of our personal lives with each other. She seemingly self-diagnosed herself with a lot of things, which I found off-putting. She said she was bipolar, depressed, had anxiety, was a sociopath, and more. It was quite strange. After a few months of being friends, she told me that she had a crush on someone. Me, being her friend, grilled her on it. We had less than 80 people in our grade, so I knew everyone. I was guessing and questioning her when she told me that she had a crush on me. I let her down, telling her that I liked a boy in our grade and didn't return her feelings. She was seemingly fine with it, and I thought we would just not mention it after that. Well, I thought wrong. After that, she started sending me weird texts, asking why I didn't like her, and telling me that she was so nice to me and she didn't understand why I would reject her. She also sent me weird snaps with seemingly intimate undertones. She was in her underwear and stuff. I tried to just ignore it and distance myself. That was the wrong choice. After I stopped responding to her texts and moving away from her in class, Cass decided that our mutual friends were to blame. She thought that 2 of our friends were making me stay away from her, and she decided she would tell everyone in our grade how terrible they were. No one really believed her, though, as everyone knew how much she exaggerated things. It even got worse when she found out that I had moved on from my old crush and now liked another girl. She would corner me and bombard me with texts. Cass would yell at me because I liked a girl that wasn't her. She would call the girl ugly, call her rude names, and generally just be a terrible person about it. She would talk about how she was so much better than the girl I liked, and tell me that I was crazy for not liking her back. I finally snapped. I told her in person that she just wasn't my type, and even if she was, her behavior didn't make it any better. I went home and blocked her on social media because I was just tired of dealing with it. After that, she told the guidance counselor that the 2 friends from earlier were bullying her because they liked me. Oh, wow, what an Uno reverse card. She's trying to bully the girl that she likes friends, and then she's saying that the exact opposite is happening. The 3 of us got called down, and we explained everything that had happened. The counselor then called Cass down and told her what we said, to which she responded by saying, "Oh, it was all a joke. You guys should have just told me to stop. Yeah, it was all a social experiment. Come on, stop freaking out, counselor." We were dumbfounded. We had been telling her to stop for months, but decided against going to the counselor because she told us that if we didn't, she would commit suicide. We were 7th graders, and of course we felt silenced by that. The counselor didn't believe her and called her parents. She had to apologize to us, and we all just tried to avoid her for the rest of the school year. It didn't work. She forced herself into our group again and harassed another girl in 8th grade, and she continues to do so to another girl every school year since. What a nice girl. Clearly better than anyone else. She's so nice and cute, and she doesn't understand why you would like any other girl. It is interesting how many manipulation tactics she used to try and win you over or defame you. I'm not sure exactly what the end goal was by the end of this, but I am willing to bet that Cass could definitely use some counseling. I hope she got it over time. I hope the school counselor advised her to see a therapist or something like that, because given this is all 7th grade stuff, so people can be really, really weird in middle school and get better and not be as manipulative, but if she doesn't work on it, then it could develop into something much worse. So hopefully she gets the help she needs, and I hope you ended up having a little bit better of a time in high school and stuff. So, just a few things. I do highly encourage you to check out r/nicegirl stories, r/niceguy stories, and r/tales of neckbeards. Sometimes all a community needs is a little bit of a push, somebody in there sharing stories, or upvoting stories, or commenting on stories to make the place a little bit more active, because I feel like there's a lot of good stuff that could go on there, and so yeah, feel free to check those out. Those will be in the description. You can also submit any of your stories to CueSubs@gmail.com, spelled like you see on your screen right now to the left of the deliciously beautiful Sal Volcano. Skate on to the best of your abilities, guys. Make sure you're drinking more water, and I will see you very soon. Have an absolutely fantastic day.